Welcome to Secrets of Successful Startups, where we sit down with founders and find out how they're running their companies. We'll be asking the tough questions that you want us to ask, and we'll be offering our own insights as well. I'm Laurel Touby. I'm the founder of MediaBistro.com, and I'm your host for the show. I'm here today with Jennifer Hill, who's a startup expert, a legal expert specializing in startups. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thanks, Laurel. It's great to be here.
And we're here today with Guillaume Gauthereau. Luckily, I don't have to pronounce that too many times. He's the co-founder and CEO of Totsy.com. Welcome.
Good afternoon.
Okay, so we have a little video we've prepared to tell everybody what Totsy is. Hit it, video gal.
Totsy.com is a flash site aimed at moms. New baby and kid gear, along with maternity wear and other mom-friendly products, appear for sale on the site each day. The sales last 48 to 72 hours. Launched in November of 2009, Totsy has 115 employees and 2 million registered users. The sales site is trying to stand out from the competition by proclaiming itself carbon neutral and promising to plant a tree each time a new member makes a purchase.
Well, Guillaume, very interesting company you've built. Tell us, are you a father?
I'm not a father yet.
Are you a mother?
Not yet. Maybe
But
more.
your target market are these people. How did you happen to start a company like this?
That's true. I think, I'm not a father, but, I was a marketer. I was in retail, for many, many years. And we have hired, many moms around us. We have a chief mom officer in the company that is the voice of the company and knows all about just 2 kids.
Okay.
Did you focus on starting the company based on the products or based on this concept of focusing on the brand of parent?
It was really focusing on the brands of parents. We saw a big gap in the market that parents, didn't have a lot of time to go shopping, and online they couldn't find really the deals easily. So we kind of brought that together on Totsy.
So one of the things we didn't go through in the video was your traction. Apparently, from what I've heard, you're doing quite well. Tell us a little bit about your success metrics.
We started the company 2 years ago, and we now have 115 employees. I think as of yesterday.
That's huge.
Over 2 million people coming on the site almost every day, and hundreds of thousands of customers. So I think those are the key things we're looking at.
Well, you've obviously gotten great traction very quickly, and you couldn't have done that without a wonderful team. So up next, we're going to talk about the team that you've built, especially your advisory board. People talk about advisory boards as if they're a want-to-have instead of a must-have. And Guillaume, I understand that you've used your advisory board quite well. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I think when you start, you don't have a lot of capital, and you don't always have all the skills, needed for starting the business. And I think your advisory board, is here to replace that. So bringing the right skills that you need, and also giving confidence to your investor that you are able to attract the right talent.
Was that one of the first things that you did, create your advisory board?
Yes, with the business plan. I think when you build your business plan, one of the first pages of it is after the team, your advisory board. So
let's go through the steps. Step 1, how do you decide how many people to have on an advisory board?
I think it's really about the missing component you have in your business. If you're not good in finance, you need someone that was a top CFO in a big retail company, and same in marketing and same in fundraising. So that's the way you look at it. For us, it was 4 to 6 people at the beginning.
I think that's very wise. Did you do it all at once? Did you add people within a certain period of time, or did you start with 1 or 2 people and then add as the company grew and you found the right candidate?
You do step by step. You basically go to your friends that you go in your network that would join because they know you, and even if they don't know yet exactly what you're going to do. And from those people that are probably a little bit famous in the space, you go to other people and build from there. What
were the categories you decided on that you were weak in?
For us, it was, fundraising. We had to raise a lot of capital for this company. It was about the retail of baby products and kids products, and it was about also marketing.
So those were the 3 areas that you felt you personally weren't as strong in?
We were strong in some areas, but I think we wanted to show also we could bring people that were, 30 years, 20 years plus experience in that space.
This is one of the really smart things that your company did, and something that startups tend to ignore until they're much further down the line. I mean, I think it's great that right after the team, you spent time very early finding people that had experience that could round out your team, super big names that not only could prove to your investors that, this is a company that they should back, but also folks that were going to help you build your team and help you build the company.
And what were the results of the good advisory board?
I mean, the result, I think we were able to hire, some very top people in our team, like our chief merchandising officer.
Tell us about that.
David was the president and CMO of FAO Schwartz, which is one of the top retailers in the US.
That would be hard to get if I were a startup getting somebody from FAO Schwartz.
Exactly.
Especially president for 10 years, big salaries, and it's hard to have one in a startup when you have 5 people, and almost no business.
So you had 5 people, and I imagine you couldn't offer him $250,000 salary a year.
No,
to start.
They're making a bet, so you give some equity, and the smaller salaries, and you increase the salary when you can. So if you're up for the challenge,
So one of your advisory board members hooked you up with that. Didn't another one of your advisory board members hook you up with money or become one of your investors?
Yes, I mean, one of our first, in fact, advisory board member is a famous, and well-known entrepreneur in New York City. He's been, selling and building 4 or 5 companies in the last 10 years and was one of our early investors also.
Okay, so 4 to 6 advisors, offer them what? 0.1% of 0.1%
0.2, yes.
It's generally,
it's
generally a small amount of equity, and it usually vests monthly. A lot of companies tend to engage advisory board members for 2 to 3 years. It's a good commitment for both the company and for the advisor, and then at that time they reevaluate, because a lot of people are really useful to the company at very different stages.
And do you write up a contract with them, or do you make it informal? How do you do it?
I think the best thing is to write up a very short agreement, 1 to 2 pages. It's really simple, and it just sets across very simple terms. One of the things that entrepreneurs often feel uncomfortable about is actually asking for all of this time. But if there's a very simple agreement ahead of time which says, as an advisory board member, you're going to commit maybe 4 to 6 hours a month or a quarter, that kind of gives people an idea of commitment. And whether it's a little bit over, a little bit under, you can always make sure that both parties are performing.
Well, I think we have some clear lessons here about advisory boards, how important they are. So the first lesson is put together an advisory board. Don't skimp out on that early on. Create categories in which you're weak on and approach people who are strong in those categories. Get your advisory board to help you source strong candidates who you wouldn't ordinarily be able to convince to join the team. Be clear on your goals for working with your advisors and give them clear expectations. Well, fast growth can lead to bumps in the road no matter what you try to do to avoid them. Up next, we'll talk about strategies to avoid them. We're here today with Guillaume Gauthereau. He's the co-founder and CEO of Totsy.com, which is a really cool flash sale site for children's items, all types. And let's talk a little bit about growth, because you had some bumps in the road early on. What did you do? What were your bumps, and what did you do to solve them?
I think, the biggest bump was a year ago when we were growing extremely fast. The company was 10 or 11 months old, and our logistics center was just not able to ship our orders. We just grew too fast every month, and after 2 or 3 months of very high growth, they just, were, piling under orders and could not ship out.
So the logistics center was conking out on you?
Yeah, I think when you start, you don't have the money for a big logistics center, and so the guy, doesn't always tell you that at some point he might not be the right partner. And we discovered it a little bit late, and had to kind of recover very quickly on that.
Yeah.
How did you recover from it?
We hired, one of the top person in operations in the U.S. that was doing that kind of job, and we switches over, another logistics center that was, much better, much bigger, much faster in terms of operation. But we did that over, holiday time in December.
Wow,
which is,
not the best time.
It was a fun time. I won't do it again, I think, but it was an interesting learning for us.
Now, what could you have done to avoid it? Because, there must have been something in hindsight that you're kicking yourself over.
Yeah, I think, the first center was pretty far from the office, so we're not able to go, every week. And I think we should have been on site more often and not rely only on what the partner was telling us, over the phone or by email.
So you would talk to them over the phone and by email, and they'd say, everything's fine, no problem. But unless you go on site and actually double check, you're not going to always know.
Yes, you have to be there. You need to trust people, but to a certain limit.
That's something I didn't know. You have to actually go on site, to see how your orders are being shipped. I would never have thought of that.
Well, you can't always rely. It's on your entire team, even if it was your own team. You really do have to kind of be there and walk it. And a lot of companies that really pride themselves on customer service and have, such a limited time in which to respond to an order and get it out to make the customer happy, have to really be on top of it. I have to ask, how was the customer feedback during that time, and what did the company do to address it?
It was very difficult, because, the time to ship kind of doubled. available, and we had to ship many orders for free. So we offered shipping free for our customers, and we also credit them, give them credit to try again the experience a few months after when we had a perfect shipping time.
What did you do to train your customer service representatives coming out of that experience? Was there anything that was different in your approach with employees?
Yeah, I think the biggest learning for us was how do we go from a bad situation to becoming the reference on customer service on the flash sale sites. And now I can say, we have, 24/7 customer service, email, phone, Facebook, and Twitter, which almost nobody have in the space.
That's fantastic. It is so important because they say, one bad experience, you tell 10 people, but one good experience, maybe you'll tell one or two.
Exactly.
So for everyone that's had a great experience with Totsy, please start Facebooking and tweeting your friends and let them know.
That's right. So I think there are some lessons here that we can clearly talk about. Growth is great when it's managed, but you have to be sure to watch your company's key performance indicators. On a weekly basis, you have to send people out to the shipping facility, which I would never have thought. And you have to monitor customer complaints very closely. Next up, we're going to talk about when it makes sense to do things in-house and when it makes sense to outsource. If you're a small company, you can't do it all in-house. You have no choice but to outsource some of your activities. Let's hear from Guillaume about what activities you've outsourced successfully and what you've kept inside.
I think, the main thing is that some talents are too expensive at the beginning. You just can't hire people.
So what are some of the things, like big sales talent or what?
Yeah,
Customer service?
It can be, sometime more on technology where you have a big platform to develop, at the beginning, and you don't want to hire 10 engineers. That's one example.
Right.
Customer service is quite the opposite. We wanted to keep it in because we feel, there's a good knowledge and contact with the customer. I don't want someone else to talk to my customer. So what's really important and what you can really learn from, this you keep internally. What you can't afford or what has no additional value for the company, you can outsource. I mean, the logistics center is one. It would take probably a year for us.
Explain to people what's involved in a logistics center, because we're throwing around this word logistics, but I'm not sure I actually know what it is because I didn't run a company that
So imagine, a big warehouse with 1 million square feet with probably 10 clients like us, and with robots all automated, and you are just one of the clients out there. But those people have been doing that for 25 years. And how long will it take and how much will it cost to get to that level? It's something a startup can't afford. So that you outsource for sure.
As the company grew, were you more strategic or were you opportunistic about taking things that were outsourced back in-house? For example, did you have a set idea of when you're going to hire 10 developers, or when you found the right people, did you make it happen?
No, I think you have to be very strategic about that because it's really about what you stand for. So I worked in the luxury industry for over 10 years before Totsy.
Luxury industry.
Yes, luxury handbags and luxury crystals.
Yes,
and
you worked at Lalique, I understand.
Yeah, Lalique and Louis Vuitton. Yeah. So your customer is the most important things you own. And customer service for me was always sure we want to keep it internally. So that's one example.
All right. The lesson here, and there are a number of them, about outsourcing, is to outsource things that you absolutely need to keep, outsourcing high-cost jobs that you cannot do in-house. And then keep internal activities that are core to the company, such as customer service. One thing every company must do is keep marketing true to the message of the company, to the core values of the company. And I think this is something we're going to talk about next. Guillaume, we're here today with Guillaume Gauthereau. He's the co-founder and CEO of Totsy.com, which is a flash sale site for children's items, everything from clothing to, give me a range.
Strollers and toys and
toys, everything. And Guillaume talks a lot about core values and about having beliefs and expressing those to the customer. How do you express those on your site and across in your activities?
One of the things that was important to us, obviously we talk to the next generation, we talk to moms and new babies that just been born here, and we wanted to show that we care, in the world they're going to grow up in, and that's a way of something I share also personally. So we tried to make the sites, completely carbon neutral, to plant a tree for every customer we have on the site, and we have over 150,000 trees that have been planted in Peru, and also to promote products that are going to help the mother to be more green and more sustainable and responsible with her kids.
That's funny that you say that, because I was looking on your site and I saw no indication of any of this. Can you explain where the disconnect is happening? Because, I mean, you talk a good game. I love the carbon neutral thing. I'm personally eco-conscious myself. So I would love to see on your site where exactly you're, you know, making that choice obvious to the customer.
No, you're right. It's not obvious on the site because we don't make it a selling point. It's just something we believe in, and we know it's there, and, you know, people can check about it. I think on the product side, you know, most of the products in that industry yet are not green. So I would say only 20% of them. So you have to do a mix of it, you know, because you won't be able to do it just with green products. But we try to promote them much more than, you know, traditional retailers.
What are some of the other things that are part of the company's ethos that you promote through customer service and through the actual products?
I think, you know, putting our moms in contact and, you know, giving them a voice is something very important to us.
When you say our moms, let's talk a little bit about that. What does our moms mean?
So our moms, so we have many moms for us in the team at Totsy. We have a chief mom officer.
I love that. Chief mom officer.
That's a great
That's a cool job. I think she has the coolest job, in fact, in the company.
Very cute.
And she manages a team of 15 moms that are in all the markets in the US, Chicago, LA, San Francisco, etc. And we have all our moms. When I say our moms, our clients. And if you go on Twitter or on Facebook, you will see they are pretty active and pretty involved, you know, in the voice of Totsy. And we give them the voice.
I looked at your Facebook page as well, and I didn't see anything there, no conversation at all. All I saw were sale, 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 sale. Now, maybe I was looking at the wrong days, but I didn't see a conversation. I didn't see any evidence of moms. I just saw price, 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 item, 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 sale, sale, sale. And you guys have a good reputation, no, don't get me wrong. You have a lot of interaction going on, a lot of the customers are writing comments, but I didn't see a lot of your moms expressing themselves. So
yeah, in proportion, I think the sites, you know, the Facebook page has a lot of products because we open 15 sales every day, so thousands of products new every day we need to talk about.
Yeah.
But if you look at the engagement metrics on Facebook, which is something Facebook gives you access to now, you can see that we have 4 or 5 times more comments than some of the biggest retail brands out there.
I'm going to make a critique. You may not like this, but you know, just listen with an open mind. I think what happened was you had a first mover advantage, which is great, and you got all these eyeballs together on, you know, on the site, and you're offering great prices, obviously, and great stuff. But I feel like there's something missing from the conversation. I would put in more news and interesting items that aren't just about selling to the customer on that Facebook page, if that's where you're engaging. I would put a blog up on your website where you're talking, because I feel like you've kind of hidden behind your moms. And you deserve a place on your site, okay? You are the brains behind it. You have a soul. You're eco-conscious. You're going to have kids one day. So just get up there and shine your light.
And in fact, you're right, you know, because we have a blog, you know, CEO blog coming up in a couple of weeks.
Excellent.
And
He
so,
already took
you
my
know,
advice.
so
Yeah,
you're probably
see,
the
quick up
first
to time.
people to know about. And we also are going to, you know, increase a lot the voice of the company in a new version of the site coming up in a few weeks too.
I think
Good.
that's fantastic, and I think one of the things that Totsy actually is a very good example of is the way to build affiliates. I mean, the Chief Mom program, a lot of companies have different affiliates, but this is one that seems a lot more organic and truly integrated into the company, and a lot of companies are trying to do this, but, you know, in a way that's not so salesy. So the more, you know, the more thoughtful and the more voice and the more active that you can make them and kind of showing how they are critical to your business. I think not only is it beneficial to your business, but you're actually also creating a new role and a new concept in the workplace that's really important.
No, it is cool. These ambassadors, these mom ambassadors, they're a lot of them are bloggers, right? You have
all of them, you know, are real moms, real bloggers. You know, they are not per se employee of the company to start with.
That is so cool. To get people to do that for you, they must believe in you and the company. So I just think you need to express that a little bit more publicly. You know, I think you
Fully
guys
agree.
are great. So anyway, all right. I think we've got some lessons here that we can sum up. Basically, we believe that marketing has to be from the soul. You've got your website has to reflect your beliefs. Your social media has to talk up your beliefs. And you have to ask citizens to be ambassadors for you. Thank everybody for joining us today, and especially Guillaume.
Thank you.
And Jennifer.
Thank you.
And thanks for coming, and we hope to see you again soon. Happy New Year still.
Thank you.